crowded house, distant sun. We're going to talk about microbiology next.
Mornings with Nadia on ABC Radio Perth and WA and on the ABC Listen app.
It is 3:15.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up?
Oh, lovely.
Christine's here with just the tonic you need. Afternoons on ABC Radio Perth and WA and on the ABC Listen app.
So have you ever thought about the science behind a pimple? Yes, I know it's gross to think about, but it's the kind of science that grabs the attention of kids. And my next guest's work is entirely about engaging them with science. Dr Rena Foo is a microbiologist, lecturer, author, artist, singer-songwriter, researcher, and mum of two, and that's a very long list of roles for one person. Dr Foo, nice to meet you in the studio.
Lovely to meet you, Christine.
I think you are going to be Perth's answer to Dr Carl. I'm just flagging it early because I'll be off soon, but I've spoken to you before. I think it was about the science of a shoey.
That's right. Yep, drinking from a shoe and the microbes that goes down with your drink.
That's right, and you aptly described it for us. So look, you've got another project. We're going to talk about that soon. But for those who haven't met you, how did you come to be a scientist who makes cartoons? Did you always want to pursue science this way?
So if I can wind back the clock as a kid, I just love bedtime stories to know about. But my mum used to tuck me in and she used to work as a surgical nurse, and she would tell me about the journey of a peanuts that goes from your mouth down your esophagus, stomach, small intestines, the velvety fingers or villas we call, and large intestines and out the other end. And I was just really hooked about the functioning and how the human body works from a very young age. And so I let the imagination go wild. And so I pursued science subjects in high school. Uni, I took up medical science, and then I became a research scientist, and then instructor at the universities, Edith Cowan, UWA, Curtin Medical School. So I've always loved the subject, and it's just really fascinating, particularly when you zoom in to look at the microscopic world.
Yeah, definitely. I love that your mum told you those stories. A lot of us get, all the wolves and, the house blew down and, the rest of that. That's very, very interesting. So MicroToons was born. Can you tell me about this broadly?
Yeah, so as the word, or we gave it that name MicroToons because micro means tiny and small. And tunes, if you think about cartoons, so it's a nice little blend. It's basically a story that or series of stories that I write about cells from the body and how they interact with the microbes that we find in the body and the adventures that they have together.
Right. So, I mean, it sounds like the inspiration definitely came from when you were young. So the first MicroToons film has been screened at 30 international film festivals and won 8 awards, and it's about pimples. So can you tell us about the little film firstly?
Absolutely. So this is a project in collaboration with Aaron from Redbird Creative. And found out that he actually mentors and provides work experience for artists who's neurodiverse and has autism. And we struck a chord at these networking events because I am a sister and carer to my brother with nonverbal autism. And so my whole life is centered around people with disabilities and very comfortable with that. And my little boy is also born with deafness as well. And so when we created this kind of concept, apply for National Science Week, and we had the wonderful launch, and we thought maybe we should enter it into film festivals. And I'm very new into this because I'm from a science kind of field rather than an arts and film industry. So I was kind of just learning along the way. And so we just entered into a lot of places like in London, Hollywood, Italy, 30 international film festivals. And we were very, very surprised to receive Best 2D Animations, including the Telly Awards, which is a global award for best use of 2D craft. So we were over the moon and totally unexpected.
Wow. So what does the film detail? What can you tell me about the science of pimples?
Yeah, sure. So I thought, starting with pimples, it's a very relatable topic, I think.
Yeah.
And we really focus just on one pimple.
Good to know, not a cluster. Great.
A cluster under the whole face of it. And we're talking about how there's nice microbes that live on our skin, happy partying kind of thing. But then there's some nasty ones, and they can actually be opportunistic and get through the pores, and they actually enjoy your sweats, and they can actually invade a little bit down the skin layers. And that's where the red blood cells and white blood cells come into the clash, the contact with this outside world and fight for their lives and protect us as well.
Right. So the nastier the bacteria, the bigger the pimple, or how does it work?
Possibly. So the pimple that we see in the mirror is basically made up of, well, I'm sorry to say, but dead soldiers, dead white blood cells, what we call leukocytes. They've sacrificed their lives to fight those invading bacteria, and so that's the pussy stuff that we see. There could be some blood cells in there as well. If the capillaries or the smaller blood vessels near your skin is burst, then that's where the blood comes from too.
Wow. It's nearly 20 minutes past 3. We're talking about pimples, but namely MicroToons, which is the broader project which teaches kids about microbiology. Dr Rena Foo is in the studios with me. She's a lecturer, author, artist, singer-songwriter and researcher. So what a really interesting concept for a film, and I can see how it would work very well visually. Now, so the pimple cartoon has no dialogue. What other issues have you attacked with MicroToons, I guess I could ask?
Yeah, so we thought we'd make a short film that isn't too bound by language for a start. Particularly because, my brother has nonverbal autism, and body language, sound effects and expressions on the faces of the characters can actually convey a lot. And so we've kind of simplified it, partly also because of funding limitation, because if you have to do sound and voiceover, that's another layer, right? So we thought, actually we can convey a lot, but just by simply including some scientifically accurate labels. And so I can actually pitch it for tertiary, at the tertiary level, but little young kids, 5-year-olds, they actually love it as a cartoon. And I've had our inaugural Medical Scientist of the Year, Robin Devonish. She loves the cartoon as well, and it brought her to tears, in fact.
So you've brought a little cartoon character in with you. Is that Staphylococcus?
Yes, it's labelled coag nag staph. So the scientists out there, microbiologists recognise, yes, because they look purple under the microscope when we stain them up, and they're in these little clusters.
So 4 purple circles, party hats on. One's got a party blower and the other's got a drink. Do the party hats mean anything, or is that just for aesthetic?
Yeah, they mean that they are loving having a good time, particularly the Staphylococcus epidermidis, as the name suggests, epi. It's on the outside of our skin. So we live with these friendly guys most of the time. And I've got a little popcorn bag here as well that's labelled with our MicroToons label.
And what does the popcorn bag represent?
It's actually created by Tanya from 4 Life Skills. I saved this from our last MicroToons launch for our National Science Week event, because we have clients from 4 Life Skills who've been preparing months in advance in the lead up to National Science Week according to their skill levels, whether they can help stick stickers on water bottles or popcorn bags, or to being an MC at the event.
Oh, so the popcorn bag's not a character?
Not a character.
I wasn't sure whether it was also, right, good, just checking. Golden staff, is that the same as your purple mate or different, more serious?
We have a more serious one.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it out from my bag.
Yeah, you've got all of them.
So here it is.
Whoa.
Golden staff gang.
Oh, yeah, so gangster trench coat, golden hat,
Yes.
very conspicuous looking glasses.
That's right. And the character design is by our very, very special talent, Sam Golney, together with Daffa. They both live with autism, and we're so proud of their special abilities in conceptualizing, digesting the science. So I'll show them under the microscope. This is what it looks like. So they're engaged in the science directly and the actual scientific accuracy, so they can represent it in arts form and non-threatening in that way.
Yeah, and we know that this is a threatening little guy. Have you written a cartoon about Staff Gangster?
Yep, so the pimple actually features the Golden Staff Gang as the villain.
Right.
Yep, so this is part 1, and I've got a lot of stories that can develop with this.
It's a good way to get kids to engage with microbiology. And I guess in terms of MicroToons, you're hoping to get it into the hands and inboxes of educators who need resources like this. Is that right?
Yes. So I don't have any direct contact with, say, the education department, but I have teacher friends or pre-service teachers who volunteer with me at MicroToons events, and they all said, we love it. Like, we've had teachers coming to the launch say, can I use this for my teaching for students, and high schoolers and high school teachers, can I use this for my immunology and bringing in medical science? I say, absolutely, and I use it at the tertiary space. So it's entertaining and educating, but I guess, anyone out there listening is very welcome to access this.
Okay, and you've just won a National Science Week grant. So what do you hope to use that for? That's a big deal.
It's such an honour, and I'm over the moon being one of the 2 recipients from WA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to, this is our aim, is to make a new second story called MicroToons-Scab.
Scab? Why Scab?
You will find out with that. Yes, and so making the story in animation is one part. So again, we're going to engage with our neurodiverse and autistic artists working together with us to make sense of the science and present it in a fun and accessible way. And we are also partnering for Life Skills. They are preparing to host a big launch event. Last time we had over 210 people attending, and it is designed interactive science stations that is inclusive for everyone to enjoy looking down the microscope or doing a fun activity relating to MicroToons.
And you're looking out for TV producers, is that right? So
yes, that is the dream, Christine, because the whole spirit of MicroToons is to empower those autistic and neurodiverse talents from locally to engage in science directly, firstly. Secondly, to empower them to make STEAM content that, thirdly, can be used for entertainment on just TV. It's a family show. And fourthly, for education across all sectors, primary, secondary and tertiary.
all right. So if people want to contact you, what's the best way?
Yeah, they can send me an email on Rena, R-I-N-A, at renafoo.com, RINAFU.com.
Yeah. Are you on the socials as well?
I am. So my socials is at scientistmum. That's on Facebook. And on my Twitter and Instagram is scientist_mum.
Oh, very good. Well, Rena Foo, congratulations on the grant for MicroToons. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is 25 minutes past 3. It's raining very hard outside and there are severe weather warnings current. So can you tell me what's going on out there? 0437 922 720. And if you want those details from MicroToons, you can always send me a text and I'll reply. One more show left tomorrow, but today you've still got Drive and Regional Drive. It's coming up very soon.